AutoSum is such a useful feature that we're going to talk about it some more, and some of this is a little overlap as far as the content goes for the prior movie, but there's a sort of a different twist to it. We're going to select ranges automatically, which we've done before. We'll select the range before we initiate AutoSum. We can adjust the range after we establish the sum function using AutoSum. We'll initiate AutoSum and select multiple ranges, non-contiguous ranges. And AutoSum is more than just summing. You can use AutoSum to find the average, the maximum, and the minimum, and to count the data points. I've got my schedule again showing sales and cost of sales for 4 different products for a fictitious company. We're going to use AutoSum to fill out this schedule and to fill out some of the data points at the bottom, where I need the sales for the first half of the year and the second half of the year. And we can also get sales for 2 non-contiguous quarters. AutoSum will automatically sum a contiguous range of values. Left-clicking C14 and using the shortcut key, Alt equal, I can have AutoSum put a sum function in cell C14 just that quickly. AutoSum has basically 3 rules. In this case, AutoSum established the range and stopped at the first blank cell, which was C9. Alt equal will have AutoSum put a sum function, Control Enter. AutoSum will also stop at the first cell containing text. Arrowing over to the right, Alt equal, Control Enter, we have a sum for the second quarter sales. Left-clicking D14, Alt equal. AutoSum also stops when it finds a sum in the column or row that it is establishing the range for. Control Enter. We can also select the range prior to initiating AutoSum for 1 column, Alt equal, or for 2 columns, Alt equal, or as we saw before, I'll fill in the remaining sum functions by selecting a broader range, including columns and rows, Alt equal. So we can select the range before, either individually, row by row, column by column, or by selecting multiple columns and multiple rows at the same time. And of course, we can adjust the range after we establish the AutoSum by left-clicking the formula bar, grabbing the handles to resize the range, Control Enter. We can also set AutoSum in motion, AutoSum, and left-click and select the ranges that we're going to sum. Left-click and drag over to column D. So I've got the sales for the first half of the year. Down arrow, initiating AutoSum, which inserts a sum function into the cell. I can left-click and drag to get third quarter sales. Press the Control key, left-click and drag, and get fourth quarter sales. Now, I actually have 2 separate ranges identified. They're contiguous, so I would have accomplished the same thing by left-clicking and dragging E5 down to F8. I'm going to Control Enter, and the reason I did that, down arrow, left-clicking AutoSum, is because I want to show you that you can do that with non-contiguous ranges. I've selected C5 to C8, press the Control key. I can select another non-contiguous range, Control Enter, and I've got quarter 1 and quarter 4 sales. AutoSum can also, in addition to summing, find the average, the maximum, minimum, and count the data points in a given range. So what are the average sales for any given product for any given quarter for the first half of the year? Left-click the down arrow, and this time, instead of summing, we're going to average, and AutoSum inserts the average function. It is incorrectly referencing a range that's the numbers to the left of the function. I'm going to left-click C5 and drag down to D8 because that's the range I really want. Control Enter. And the average sales for each of the products for each of the quarters is 29,875. Right arrow over, left-clicking the drop-down, and this time selecting max. And again, AutoSum will, by default, reference cells with values either to the left or above the active cell And again, in this case, it's not the correct range for what we're trying to accomplish. Left-clicking and dragging down for the sales for Q1 and Q2, Control Enter. The maximum sales in that range is 55,000. Arrowing over, similar thing happens with minimum. Selecting the range, Control Enter, the minimum's 10,000, and arrowing over one more time, AutoSum, and this time count the numbers in quarter 1 and quarter 2. We already know there's 8, and we get 8. So there's a lot of flexibility with AutoSum. You can have AutoSum select the range automatically. Sometimes it's not going to be the correct range. You can select the range before, either individually, column by column, row by row, or a group of rows and columns. You can select multiple non-contiguous ranges to sum as long as you initiate the sum prior to identifying the ranges and hold the Control key down as you select each range. You can, of course, adjust the range manually after you establish the sum function. And you can use AutoSum to do more than just sum. You can find the average, the maximum, minimum, or you can count the numbers in a given range.